A very good afternoon. It's the 3rd of December 2021. You're watching Lunchtime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Now, among our top stories making headlines this afternoon, the country is currently experiencing an island-wide power cut. We will get you details of the story and much more, but before that, let's take a look at our headlines for this afternoon.
Island-wide power cut reported. CEB trade unions engage in a work to rule campaign. Sri Lanka detects first Omicron variant case. Distribution of gas suspended until further notice. More gas-related accidents reported. 131 incidents reported thus far. Public Utilities Commission introduces a standard system for gas. Met Department warns of hurricane arrivals after heavy showers.
Newsfirst social media platforms will continue to update you on the power cut. Now let's take a look at the news item once again. An island-wide power cut is being experienced in Sri Lanka. This was confirmed by the Ministry of Power and Energy. The General Manager of the Ceylon Electricity Board says instructions were given to activate solar power generators until the situation is restored.
Power failures are being reported in several districts across the country. We have confirmation now that this is an island-wide power cut at the moment. This is according to the Ministry of Power and Energy. The news comes as the CEB Engineers Union continues its work to do a campaign.
Thank you, Chaturanga. Now, in another headline-making story this afternoon, a Sri Lankan who had returned from Nigeria has tested positive for the Omicron variant of COVID-19. This was confirmed by Health Minister Kehelia Rambukwala.
An individual who returned from an African country has tested positive for the Omicron variant. Steps have been already taken to handle this situation. The infected patient was undergoing quarantine when tested positive. Therefore, this will not affect the community as well. The infected patient's family members and those who travel with him on the flight will also be directed towards quarantine. They will also be tested for the virus.
අපි දන්නවා ඩෙල්ටා වෛරසය ප්‍රභේදයේ අපේ අසල්වැසි ඉන්දියාවෙන් හොයාගත්තට ලංකාවෙන් හොයාගන්න මාස ගණනාවක්.
Although the Delta variant was reported in neighboring India a while ago, it was only detected in Sri Lanka months after that. That does not mean the virus entered the country months later. As the Health Ministry, we will take all steps to curb the spread of this virus. We will also take steps to carry out a genetic analysis to detect this variant.
ඥාන විශ්ලේෂණ කටයුතු කිරීම කරගෙන යන්නේ ඒක හරහා අපි හොයාගන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා.
Also taking a look at some developments from overseas, US President Joe Biden has unveiled stricter COVID-19 travel rules as the US confirmed multiple cases of the Omicron variant.
US President Joe Biden said his plan doesn't include shutdowns or lockdowns and does not expand vaccine mandates. Cases have been detected in California, Colorado, Minnesota, New York and in Hawaii, where authorities say that person had no recent travel history. State health officials have reported only mild symptoms in these cases. According to reports, the variant has now been found out in 30 countries. Under the details unveiled, all international passengers will have to be tested for the virus in the 24 hours before they leave for the US, regardless of their vaccination status. Mask requirements on planes, trains and buses will be extended until March. Meanwhile, Germany's national and regional leaders have agreed to bar unvaccinated people from much of public life in a bid to fend off a fourth wave of COVID-19. Only those who have been vaccinated or recently recovered from COVID will be allowed to restaurants, cinemas, leisure facilities and many shops. There is also growing concern about the spread of the Omicron variant, which EU health officials warn is likely to cause over half of all COVID cases in the next few months.
In more local news, a ship carrying gas to Litro has sent 2 samples for testing and the landing has been suspended until the results are available.
Sampath Wahala, chairman of the governing council at Sri Lanka Accreditation Board, said the samples have been sent for lab testing. At present, distribution of litro gas is completely suspended. While the testing is taking place, police investigations are currently underway on the explosions reported recently. KDS Ruwan Chandra, Secretary to the State Ministry of Cooperative Services, Marketing Development and Consumer Protection, said the investigation reports are requested to be submitted to the ministry. Thus far, 131 gas-related accidents are reported in the country. This was informed by the Presidential Committee appointed to investigate the gas-related explosions. The committee also released a series of instructions on preventing accidents related to gas yesterday. The instructions can be accessed via our website www.newsfirst.lk. The people of this country must stop eating until further notice. Housewives shouldn't eat until further notice. We must use furnace cooker until further notice. We must use a lamp oil for cooking until they inform us otherwise. This is their prosperity. The country is facing their prosperity. They waited without accepting fault. Now the people have to stay in hunger. Is there a government in this country? Is there a subject minister in this country? Where is Bandulu Gunawardana? Where is Lasanthala Gevanna? The president must intervene in this and solve this problem. Meanwhile, several gas cylinder-related accidents were reported across the country today as well. A kitchen in School Lane, Polonnaruwa was damaged after gas stove exploded yesterday afternoon. The house was empty at the time of the incident. Equipment in the kitchen was severely damaged as a result of the fire. Meanwhile, another gas stove exploded in Pannala yesterday. Another gas stove exploded in Aravatta Mahiyanganaya yesterday night. The kitchen of the house in which the explosion took place was severely damaged. Another gas stove exploded at a house in the 8th lane of the Light Road in Kantale this morning. Another gas stove exploded at a house in DM Kolambage Mawatha in Kirulapana today. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka states that it is ready to regulate gas. Its chairman Janaka Ratnayaka said the Public Utilities Commission has already started establishing standards for LP gas. However, he noted legally the Commission does not have power to implement the regulations. The Public Utilities Commission further noted the regulations created under the Sri Lanka Standards Institution will enable safety for LP gas consumers.
Views were expressed in Parliament today regarding the gas-related explosions.
They are not revealing the true issue related to gas. They are in the stance where no matter what happens to the people, politically these people are not impacted. Are you going to pay compensation for all the people who were impacted due to this incident? The politicians are not experts on this subject. As a result, the President has appointed an expert committee. After obtaining a report in another 2 weeks, no matter what, whether it is from the government or private side, strict action will be taken. For the protection of the people, recommendations will be followed and acted accordingly. Minister Lasanthala Gevanna can further clarify matters if you have any.
In more local news, leader of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, Anurakumara Disanayaka, expressed views regarding the shortage of foreign reserves in the country. He made these comments in Parliament today.
මෙරට විදේශ සංචිත හේගේ හුදු කොවිඩ් වසංගත තත්ත්වයේ හේතු සිදුවක් බවට අර්ථකථනය කිරීමට හැකියාවක් නැහැ. දකුණු ආසියානු කලාපීය රටවල් වන ඉන්දියාව, බංග්ලාදේශ, නේපාල.
You cannot say that the existing shortage of foreign reserves is a result of the COVID pandemic. South Asian countries like India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan and Maldives were able to increase their foreign reserves amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. If you look at the global situation, the amounts of foreign reserves have increased. However, within 2 years, foreign reserves in Sri Lanka has reduced. By October, that amount further dropped to $2.3 billion. That amount is only sufficient for imports of 1.5 months. By 2022, $6.5 billion is needed to settle debt in Sri Lanka. The payment balance in Sri Lanka, which is at a dangerous level, will further become worse. Even though the governor of the central bank says that the situation pertaining to foreign reserves is at a favorable state, everyone knows that that is not the reality. The foreign remittances, which is the main source of income for the foreign reserves, is going down drastically compared to the last 5 years. Against such a backdrop, the central bank has held the rupee value of the dollar at 202 rupees. Commercial banks don't have enough dollars to give importers at this rate. We know that exporters don't bring in all of their income. They speculate the dollar amount will increase and they deposit their dollars in their offshore accounts through their brokers. Therefore, we don't get the entire income of exports. Keeping the rupee value at 202 rupees against the dollar is only worsening the situation. Outside the banking system, the dollar is being sold at a value of 240 to 250 rupees. Since importers are not imported at this rate, since banks are unable to give the amount of dollars mentioned in the letters of credits they had issued, a large shortage of goods has arisen in the country. Present the parliament with the foreign reserve amount that was recorded by the 30th of November. What are the steps taken by the government to increase the amount of foreign reserves? What is the time period for that? Will you provide dollars to the banks for the imported goods that are sorted at the Colombo port to be released? What is the mechanism used for that? We hope these information will be revealed to the parliament by the finance minister.
The enjoining orders against the People's Bank and the local shipping company preventing from making letters of credit for the stock of Chinese fertilizer have been extended until the 23rd of this month. The case was taken up before Colombo Commercial High Court judges Pradeep Hettiarachchi and Priyantha Fernando today. The enjoining order was extended to prevent the importation of sterilized organic fertilizer from China's Qingdao Saving Group, preventing the company's agent from making payments through the letters of credit. The case has been filed by the Fertilizer Company Limited and Colombo Fertilizer Company. With that, it's a wrap of this edition of Lunchtime News here on TV1. For details of these stories and much more, you can log on to our website, which is www.newsfirst.lk. Thank you for watching. A very good day to you and take care.